Greetings friends, David Marks here with a quick and easy tutorial for those of you who are just getting started with the cloud-based version of Adobe Lightroom. In this video, I'm going to show you how to add photos from a digital camera's memory card into your Lightroom library. Fortunately, the import process is a piece of cake with the cloud-based version of Lightroom, but there are a couple of small tricks that can make your imports even more efficient. For today's demo, I'm going to import a couple of new images from my digital camera into Adobe Lightroom. I'm actually going to walk you through the import process twice in this video. The first time, I'm just going to bring in a couple of photos so that you can see how easy the process is, and then I'll add some additional tricks and repeat the whole thing. For starters, I'm going to pop a memory card from my digital camera into a card reader that's already connected to my computer. Once that memory card is in, I can click on this button right up here at the very top left of Lightroom sidebar to add some new photos into my library. In here, I'm going to pick the EOS Digital device. That's the memory card from a Canon digital camera. In this screen, every image with the blue check mark on it will be copied from my memory card to my computer and then automatically uploaded to my account at adobe.com. Now, ordinarily, I would leave the check marks on all of these images so that everything on the card gets copied and uploaded. But for today's demo, I'm going to click here on this Select All button to unselect all of these. Now, I'm going to click on these three right here and give them little check marks. I'm going to ignore the Add to Album button here at the top this time, but I promise I'll talk more about this one on our next pass. All I need to do now is to tap on this Add 3 Photos button in the upper right. Just like that, Adobe Lightroom will begin to copy these files from my memory card to my computer for temporary storage, and then it will automatically begin uploading them to my space at Adobe's server. While these are uploading to my cloud account, I'm going to press on this button here to change to the square grid view. In the square grid view, you can see this little symbol here at the bottom of each cell. This is the sync status indicator. While these files are uploading, we get a spinning blue circle symbol. You can also see that an upload is in progress here, where we have that same spinning blue symbol on top of the cloud icon in the top right corner. Once these files have been uploaded, the symbol on each of these photos will turn into a little white circle with a check mark in the middle. The check mark symbol means that this image has been synced and backed up, and that Adobe is now storing it safely for me. I must add here that because Lightroom caches a copy of these images on my computer's hard drive while they are uploading, that I can start to work on these images right away, which is great because it means that I don't need to wait for the entire upload to complete before I can get to work on these photos. That was easy. So now, let me show you a few tricks that can make your import workflow even more efficient. One of the easiest little time savers is to add your copyright info onto all of your new images. When I say copyright info here, I'm talking about adding your name into the file's metadata, not something visible, not a watermark over top the image itself. Now, to set things up so that all of the photos that we import from here on automatically get your copyright info, we need to open up Lightroom's Preferences menu. To do that on a PC, go up to the word Edit on the top menu bar and then down to Preferences. Mac folks, we have the exact same features, only our Preferences menu lives here underneath the words Adobe Lightroom at the top right of the menu bar. Once this window opens on a Mac or a PC, everything's the same. And what we want to do is click down here where it says General. In here, let's enable the box that says Add Copyright to Imported Images. To be clear, enabling this box will not go back and change anything about the images that you've already added to your Lightroom library. I'll cover a different method in another video if you need to add or modify the copyright info on older files, stuff you've already imported. What this switch will do for us though, is it will automatically type out whatever you have here in this field on all of the images that you bring in from here on. Now, this is a minor time savings, but if you shoot thousands and thousands of images per year, then every little efficiency boost helps. While we're here in the Preferences menu, let me show you one other feature that might help some of you out with your imports. To find this option, I'm going to click up here where it says Local Storage. Do you remember when I said that Lightroom copies the images from your memory card to your hard drive first, that it caches all of your new photos locally so that you can get to work on them right away, even before the upload process finishes? Well, for most Lightroom users, it probably doesn't matter where the program stores these files while things are uploading. But if you're someone who's working, say, on a laptop with a very small internal hard drive, or if you're about to import thousands and thousands of photos, then the location where your originals get stored might be important. If any of these words describe you, if your computer is already low on internal hard drive space, or if you're about to import a massive quantity of images, then this option might interest you. If I click on the Browse button here at the bottom, then an operating system window will pop up. In here, I can designate an alternative location, like this external hard drive, which has tons of free space for Lightroom to use while it's staging my uploads. Again, messing with this option is probably unnecessary for most of you, but it's a nice feature to know about for those with a shortage of internal hard drive space. That's all the preferences that relate to import, so I'm going to click on the Done button to return to the main window. Now, let's talk briefly about one more feature before I bring in some more images. If I click here on this stack of books looking icon, then an additional panel, what Adobe calls a track, will appear along the left side of the screen. This track holds many of Lightroom's image organization features, and I'll talk more about each of these at length in other tutorials. The one that I want to quickly mention, though, is a feature called albums. Albums are like playlists in iTunes, or collections for those of you who are used to working with Adobe Photoshop Lightroom Classic. Albums are a way for us to group together a bunch of photos for a specific project that share a common theme. I'll go on and on about why I love albums in another tutorial. But for today, let me point out that they are one of the quickest and easiest ways to add some level of organizational detail into your image library. When we're making albums, I think that we want to focus on things like the who, the what, when, where, and why, the why we shot these photos. And since I'm a landscape and travel photographer, the most memorable thing for me about any given photo shoot is where I was. The location where I shot my photos is the thing that will probably stick in my memory the longest. So that's what I'm going to use for my first tier of albums. In this case, these images were shot at Whitefish Lake State Park in my hometown. So I'm going to tap on this little button here and create a new album. And since I'd already selected all of these photos, I'm going to turn on this switch, the one that says include the 3 selected photos. When I hit create, they'll get added into this organizational grouping right here. Okay, so now that we've covered these little things, like the copyright metadata and the most basic use of albums, let's return to Lightroom's import dialog. To do that, I'm going to tap on the Add Photos button again at the top left. Again, I'll guide Lightroom to my memory card. At this point, you might notice that some of these images are grayed out. The images that are grayed out right now are files that Lightroom already has in this library, so don't worry about those. If you think about it, this graying them out, this refusal to import them twice, is actually a nice feature. Because it won't bring in things it already has, you don't need to worry about filling up your storage space at adobe.com with a whole bunch of duplicates. Anyway, in here, all that I need to do this time is to click on the Select All button to choose all of these, and then up here at the top, I can pick which album to use. If I needed to, I could create a new album, or I can use one that I already have. In this case, the one that I created a second ago is just fine, so I'll click on this one, and now when I tap the Add to Photos button, these will get copied to my hard drive, and then the upload process will start. In no time, these images will be copied to my hard drive, and they'll be added into that new album. In addition, if I click on one of these, and then I tap on the Metadata button, which is the button down here at the far bottom right with the letter I on it, then a new panel track will appear. In this track, we can see titles, captions, and the additional metadata that we've added to our images. But the part that I want to point out is right here. Here's my copyright. This is what that feature that we activated back in the Preferences menu is doing for us. Now, it might take my internet connection a few minutes to finish uploading all these new files. But as you can see, the import process in the cloud-based version of Adobe Lightroom is very streamlined, easy, and efficient. I hope that you found this video helpful. If you learned something today, then please hit the subscribe button and leave us a like or a comment down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in our next tutorial.